Welcome, everybody, to the Scene Snobs interviews. Today I have with me Scott Schwartz. You may recognize him and know him from possibly one of the most famous Christmas movies of all time, if not the most famous and most played, and possibly one of the most famous movie scenes of all time. Scott, how are you doing today, bud? Just a little bit.
I'm doing all right. I don't know about famous movie scenes. I mean the Top Gun with Tom Cruise up and over. That might be a little bit better, but it's all right.
I guarantee you, we walk out on the street, we ask 100 people, I know what scene they're going to remember more. But yeah, how you doing today, sir? And
we're hanging in there.
You, sir, are you've definitely worked in again one of the biggest Christmas movies of all time. It's playing all the time. That just last month they were doing Christmas in July, and it's 24 hours of A Christmas Story.
Hey, listen, they can sell the commercial time. They're going to play it.
And you were also in a movie with probably the most famous comedian of all time, The Toy, which is always a fun one. And Jackie Gleason as well, another famous comedian.
And Richard Pryor.
Well, yeah, no, Richard Pryor. I was getting to that point, but yeah, Jackie Gleason is also in there. But yeah, please, could you tell us any more about working with on The Toy with them as a young child actor?
Oh, it was great. I mean, they didn't treat me like a kid because I didn't really act like a kid. I was much more mature than my age, and I was fans of both of theirs. I knew the material. I knew what they did. So being a fan at that age of them truly helped because they were more than willing to kind of guide me along and give me, helpful tidbits and become my teachers. So it was great.
Awesome. And, starting out as a child, how old were you when you started out acting?
Yeah, about 8.5.
Oh, okay. Wow. You were young. So I know you run a foundation. Is it a minor consideration is what it's called?
Well, I don't run it. I was a president of it for a couple of years a while back because as a 501c3, you can only be the president for 2 years. That's the law. So, but that's already been 3-4 years ago already. I'm gone from that. 4 years ago, yeah, about that.
Okay,
about 5.
What kind of work did you do with the organization?
Basically, as the president, you do more of the interviews, you do more of the talking to people. You're not really on the ground level, although, there were people that contacted us. They needed advice. They needed stuff, about their kids, child labor laws. That's what the company dealt with, what the charity dealt with. It was, for changing child labor laws across the board so that the same things that apply in California, New York, and Illinois apply to Florida, Oklahoma, Texas, Louisiana, and so forth. Okay. It's standardized that a kid has an 8 to 9 hour working day. It's basically you have to have 3 hours of school, 1 hour for a meal, and then you can work either 4 or 5 hours. I think it's 5 hours at the most. I think it's up to a 9-hour day. And that's any kid under the age of 18 who's still in school who's not been emancipated. Mm-hmm. If you've been emancipated, then you can do whatever you want, basically.
Well, growing up as a child actor, I know it has a certain stigma to it, with a lot of child actors, unfortunately, meeting in a certain amount. With you advocating through this organization, things like that, is there anything that you really not happened to you or anything, but that you saw that really you're really trying to end or?
Well, I mean, realistically, the treatment of children on sets is pretty good. It's always been pretty good. You have the time before time, as I call it, the non-PC culture time, which was basically the last 10 years. If you go past 10 years ago, just the non-PC things, what people would say on a set, what people would do on a set, smoking on a set. I mean, all of those things that were then, and they're just not now. So that's kind of just corrected itself, so to speak. It's realistically more, I personally fought for the Coogan law, which is Jackie Coogan, who was in The Kid with Charlie Chaplin,
Mhm.
all of his money was gone by the time he was 10 years old. I mean, his parents spent his money. So the Coogan Law was enacted, and what it says is 15% or 20% of a kid's income has to go into an account for them until they turn 18 years old.
Mhm.
If you kind of figure out everything, you know, it comes down to how much of the kid's money is available for somebody else to take outside of that. I mean, it sounds crazy, but, you know, I kind of always say I start with $1,000 and I work from there to make it easy for everybody to understand.
Mhm.
Now, because you make $1,000 does not mean you make $1,000.
True.
You know you have an uncle, right? You never get to see him. His name is Uncle Sam. So he takes a nice chunk of your money. Then you have a cousin, the state of whatever, and they got to get their tidbit unless you're working in Texas or Florida and you have no state tax. But most of the time you do. Then there's agents, managers, PR people, you know, various expenses. And after all of that is said and done, you know, they take the money out for the Coogan, and there's some left. There's probably $200 left out of the 1,000, you know.
Mhm.
All right, well, now where does that money go exactly? You know, does it go to the child? Does it go to the parents? You know, there are parents that manage their children because are making so much money. You know, mom works or dad works a menial labor job, and, you know, let's say they make $25 an hour. Okay, you know, okay, so they're making, you know, $1,000 a week. The kid's on a series making 42,000.
Yeah.
What the hell is mom or dad working for? So they turn around and their full-time job becomes to take care of their kid. Well, they're definitely, you know, entitled to something. You know, is it the same amount as they were getting at their regular job? Is it a little bit more? You know, this is kind of where you kind of go into that no man's land, you know, and you had people like like Gary Coleman, whose parents took a lot of his money. And there's been just many, many stories among the decades of kids who turned around. You know, there's one guy, you wouldn't know his name, so it's kind of inconsequential, but he did a lot of TV work. He was never a big star. But I mean, this guy was on show after show after show after show. And somewhere in his parents' thinking, they said, well, he's a minor. He's a child. He doesn't have to pay taxes. So they never paid his taxes for 5 years of his income. So by the time he got out, he became 18. They handed him his Coogan account and said, thank you very much. And it was a decent sum of money. You know, unfortunately, though, Uncle Sam showed up and said, you owe us 16 times that amount from taxes, penalties, and interest.
Oh.
So you get those situations as well. You know,
Yeah.
you know, I'm, you know, I don't know if I'm in the minority or majority that say, you know, what kids learn in school is not always applicable to life. Every kid in high school should learn how to balance a checkbook, to have a bank account of some kind. You know, I understand there are, you know, people that don't make a lot of money, but you can certainly open up an account with $5 for your kid, I would hope. You know, something so that they can learn the responsibility of a dollar and how to use it and what everything is. They don't teach this, you know.
But
So that was kind of one of the things I always said, you know, that, you know, Hollywood loves stupid kids and stupid parents because they can take advantage and they can do what they want to do, but they'll never teach the right thing. You know, I understand teaching a kid where his mark is on the floor to deliver his line. Okay, I get that. But during his school time, 15 minutes a day to teach him what a checkbook is and how to balance his finances would be of great help.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, we've had, you know, kids on television making, you know, $250,000 a week. You know, that's real money, you know, and why shouldn't we teach them what to do, what not to do?
Mm-hmm.
You know, again, I'm one of those, I don't care how rich, how famous you are. I don't want anybody else controlling my money. I don't feel the need for it. Why would you do that?
Yeah.
You know, oh, because you don't want to have a direct deposit or a direct payment for your mortgage? Really? So you have somebody else do it. So they run your checkbook. And then when there's money missing, then we got a problem.
That's a great point. And especially, you bring up a great point with child actors too, and just how, yeah, even today, I'm sure it's still got to be the same. Like, there is no way there's no way of teaching them, but there's nobody out there, I'm sure, actively trying to make sure on set that they're being taken care of.
Well, again, taken care of, listen, it's Hollywood as in general. It is a kiss-ass business. That's what it is. If you're on a show, you're in a movie, your ass is being kissed every day. Oh, what would you like? What can we get for you? What can we do for you? That's not real life. It's sort of funny because I grew up doing commercials, and then I did Broadway and off-Broadway, and it's not nearly as much kiss-ass in commercials. They do a little bit of it. But I was mature enough when I got into the business, when I started working regularly, not the first few commercials I did, but then after that, I just did a boatload. Listen, I got on a set, my dad or somebody else drove me to the set. Where's catering? Where's coffee? Get a cup of coffee, you get a bagel and cream cheese. Okay, fine. Now what do I need to do? Okay, where's makeup? Where's wardrobe? Okay, fine. Now they'll certainly hand spoon feed you all of that if you need it. But realistically, nobody needs it. You should be able to do it on your own, but there are people that just get to a set and there's somebody there. Here's your coffee. Here's your bagel. It's not really real life, So again, I think the more responsibility you put on kids or youngsters is the more they're going to learn.
That's a great point.
Yeah. We've seen the stories, one of the kids had a major TV show, $250,000 a week he was making. And then he started bad-mouthing his own show, and they kicked him off the show, and he ended up in some cult or whatever it is, some religious thing. And we know in 5 years all the money's gone.
Yeah.
It's gone. That's just what happens. We've seen it before. There was a kid that was on a TV series for 12 years. And he was making a bloody fortune. I think he was making upwards of like $600,000 a week. And within 5 years, how'd they foreclose on his house? Well, we understand it was a $6 million house in Malibu. What the hell he needed that for, I'm not sure, but whatever. But they foreclosed on his house, and they did. Where's the money? What did you do? How did you piss this away? I had a chance a couple years ago. I ran into Justin Bieber. When I say I ran into him, literally, I walked out of a deli, and within 2 minutes, he walked in the deli. I was still standing in the parking lot. And I had seen what he was doing, the $100,000 cars and all the nonsense. And I went back inside, and I met his buddy, and I introduced myself to him. And, he said he had never seen the films that I had done, but his buddies had, so it was all fine, whatever. So I gave him words of wisdom. I said, listen, dude, the gravy train does not last forever. There's going to come the brick wall. And I would rather see you be financially secure for the next 4 generations of your family than piss it all away. You really need that $80,000 car? You really need that $150,000 Tesla Roadster? Really, you need that? Because it's funny, because when it's packed on the freeway, you can't go any faster than anybody else. And, I told him some other things, I said, listen, I'm not a fan. I've never heard one of this kid's songs, not even to this day. Never seen anything he's, nothing. So I'm not a fan, and I wasn't looking for anything. I just told him, I want to see you live a happy, prosperous life. You, your family, get married, have kids, do whatever. Just be smart, And as I was sort of going to leave, his other buddy grabbed me, and he was like, where did you come from? I said, I was in the parking lot. He's like, no. Where did you come from? Nobody talks to him like that. Nobody tells him those kinds of things. I said, well, I come from experience. That's where I come from.
And as a fellow New Jerseyan, I'll say it's got to be a little bit of New Jersey in that too.
Yeah. Where are you from in Jersey? I didn't know you were from Jersey. Where?
Yeah, I was born and raised in Jersey City, and then I moved to Carteret. And
Carteret? Yeah. Oh, my God. Exit 12, baby.
Yep, you know it.
I'm a
Nice.
Jersey guy. Come on. I grew up in Bridgewater, exit 10 off 287.
Oh yeah, we spent a lot of time down there. Absolutely.
What did you go to, the Bridgewater Commons?
Oh yeah, hung out there. All over. My brother went to school in Piscataway High School, so
Oh, my
I
God.
was around there.
That's funny because when I was in high school, at the Bridgewater Mall is here, and then you've got 202, 206.
Mm-hmm.
And on the other side, there's some the city buildings, whatever, just a small courthouse. But on the other side of that's the high school I graduated from, Bridgewater Raritan High School West.
Oh yeah, I had some
Yeah.
friends who went there. We played basketball together. You know, because it's Jersey. You all kind of convene.
Yeah. I mean, now it's Bridgewater Raritan, regional, whatever, But I mean, the sad thing about that was Bridgewater East had a history, and Bridgewater West had a history. I mean, I say West especially because, like, Eric Murdoch, who was an NBA basketball player, he came out of Bridgewater West, and they had his jerseys up and all that stuff, and I came out of Bridgewater West. They put all that stuff in storage like it doesn't exist because they wanted to bring everybody together. So rather than just have everything displayed, for Bridgewater East and West and just put it together in the same school, it's like it doesn't exist, which is really sad.
Yeah, that's a shame. When did I'm guessing during your earlier part of your career, you weren't living in New Jersey, correct?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, you were. So you say you just traveled out to wherever they were shooting?
Oh, yeah. On 22 Ethicon
No.
in Bridgewater, right on Route 22. You go past Dave's Texaco, the 7-Eleven, you go past the mall, and the next light up is Ethicon and Johnson & Johnson on the right-hand side. That's Country Club Road. If you made a right on Country Club Road and you went up about a mile and a half on the right, that's the street I lived on. I lived there from 1975 when I was 7 until I graduated high school.
I had a friend who worked at that Johnson & Johnson, too, for a long time. She did really well there. That's blast from the past, too, because I live in Virginia now, but I'm from, I left there maybe about 6 years ago and moved down here.
You got tired of the taxes.
Yeah, that's for sure. It is a gorgeous place to live, and I'm always trying to convince people. I'm like, stop thinking of Jersey like this. There's a lot more.
Listen, all they think of New Jersey is Secaucus and the Meadowlands because that's all that they see on television. They see swampland, they see crap. And I'm like, no, you don't understand. There's places you go 10, 15 minutes outside of there, and it's gorgeous, and you just keep going. Bridgewater was beautiful. Woodbridge is gorgeous. You go out to Flemington, and then you go past there. But, and of course, down the shore, you got Seaside Heights and you got Atlantic City and you got all the points that, Long Beach, Long Branch. New Jersey's a beautiful state. It's just expensive as hell.
Oh, yeah. It's insane. My family's still up there. I'm just like, yeah, I'm out. Got to go somewhere.
The house that we lived in, my dad bought it in the end of 75 for $65,000. My dad's mortgage and property tax was $750 a month. Right now, the property tax on that property is over $1,000 a month. Just the property tax.
It's insane. It really is. They get away with in New Jersey. They get away with highway robbery, but they produce the most actors. I'll give you that. No, but that's every time I go take this trip down memory lane, I just talked to somebody. I did an interview. Artie Hoffman. He's a psychic out of Woodbridge. Okay. And he grew up there his entire life, and I'm like, yeah, no, I moved to Carteret. And like, it was just once that happens, that's when it goes to. It's a Jersey thing.
Of course.
You gotta love where you're from, but
there's a way that we think. There's a way that we speak. We're not sugarcoaters, as they say. We don't sugarcoat nothing. It is what it is. What it is. Period. Cut through the BS and just say what you gotta say. You like somebody, you like somebody. You don't like somebody, you don't like somebody. It's not, we'll go to lunch and then you just never call them.
Yeah, no, it's just kind of walk away from it. I get it. But when did you move out of New Jersey? So you said you went to high school there, so it had to be after
6 months. The winter, the January of '87. I moved to LA. I had enough. I had enough with the winters. I had enough. We have the 4-letter curse words. You know what mine are? Snow, icy, rain, cold. Those are mine, okay? You know, I was the beneficiary of having Jewish parents, and my father could not wait till I was 9 years old, because at 9 years old he decided that he had a son who was 9, and we had just about a 100-foot driveway from the street to our garage, and he handed me the shovel and said, "Here you go." And I said, "Well, what do you want? You want me to do all this?" He said, "Well, I was the end of that. I mean, I had no choice. You know, I'm the son. I got to do it, you know." And I mean, that thing was torturing. It was about 14 or 15 when I just said, "I'm not doing it." And I actually paid friends of mine in high school who were older than me, who had the snow trucks, the plows. I actually paid them to come and do my driveway so I didn't have to do it anymore. It was a backbreaker.
Yeah. Oh, I can't wait till my kids are old enough.
Yeah, but to me, I mean, it was okay. You know, you had a little bit of snow, all right, fine. But then when you got those 2-foot snowstorm drifts that came and all that, the hardest part was the plows in the streets, because it would push everything to the side, and you'd have that wall at the end of your driveway, which was solid ice. So I'm out there shoving the wood part and the handle of the shovel to break through the ice so I could get it the hell out of the way so my parents could get out of there.
Yeah, it really is. I don't miss the winters not being as bad as they used to be. Down here, they're not as bad as they were out there. So
no, I don't miss that part of it. I miss the people. I miss the food.
Yeah.
I miss, the behavior of people, the straightforwardness, Now, again, New Jersey gets a bad rap for a lot of things, because we got Newark in the ironbound section, and you got, "How you doing? What's going on?" And then you got the "How you doing?" You got the Italian guys, but that's everywhere, but it's like New Jersey gets a bad rap for it,
Yeah, and it's I always say it's more Bruce Springsteen than it is Jersey Shore. I was like, or Bon Jovi or something like that.
There you go.
Yeah,
those are my guys.
Yeah.
I knew his cousins, so it was like, okay, fine, Nice. But there's a lot of great things that have come out of Jersey, and yet everybody goes, "Oh my God, it's a dump! Look, it's all swampland." I'm like, no, that's the Meadowlands. Yeah. That's the Caucasus. What are you looking at?
Well, nobody goes there.
Except people that go to games and do whatever, Yeah,
that's for sure. So so you're living in California. Are you living in Los Angeles or?
No, I'm outside of Los Angeles. I'm outside of LA County.
Oh, smart.
I'm where it's quiet. There's no BS, and my neighbors look out for me and I look out for them, and it's a nice little quiet community. About 45 minutes northwest of LA.
Very nice. Okay.
And, it has its good and it has its bad,
Absolutely.
And I'm not talking political. I'm not talking people. How do they not sell Drake's Cakes, Devil Dogs, Yankee Doodles, Yodels, and Ring Dings in California? It's killing me.
There are some good. Yeah, you remember Yodels?
I just said Drake's Cakes, Yodels.
Oh, yeah, I'm sorry.
Yodels, Ring Dings, Devil Dogs, Yankee Doodles, Coffee Cakes. Come on.
I miss Devil Dogs big time. They were my favorite.
Oh, I miss Devil Dogs.
They call them Swiss rolls here in Virginia.
Uh-huh.
And I'm like, and I always call them Yodels. And my wife, who's from Virginia, is just like, "What are you talking about?" And I'm just like, "The Yodels." I'm pointing at them right there in the cupboard. And she's like,
one of these days you're going to go up toward AC, or you're going to go up the thing just far enough. You're going to go into a ShopRite. I don't think, is Pathmark even still around? I don't think so.
I haven't seen it in years. I'm stuck down.
Our mainstays were ShopRite, A&P, Pathmark. Those were the three, and Grand Union.
Yeah, we had Acme in Jersey City too.
And Acme, yeah, and you walk in and you got the whole shelf of Drake's Cakes, and you're going to pull a couple of boxes, and you're going to put them in the car, and you're going to take them home. You're going to go, "Honey, this is what I grew up with. Here they are."
Yes.
And then after your wife has them, she's going to go, "Honey, you got to go up and get some more.
Yeah, taking that 4.5-hour trip every time. It's a good point, though. I do have to. You got to learn them something, right? You know.
Yeah.
All these non-Jerseyans. No, but I just I do miss a lot of those things, and I lived out in California for a little while too, and nowhere else is the food as good.
Now, Jersey food is the Chinese in New York, New Jersey, the pizza, Dominic's Pizzeria at the Somerville Circle. I don't know if you ever went to the Somerville Circle, but Dominic's Pizzeria, it's been there, Jesus, 1973, I think. They've been there since, they've been there for 47 years,
I haven't had a good
My buddy Vito, that I went to school with, he's still running the place. His old man is still there, who was there for all these years, Just phenomenal pizza and great food, And so, I still go back home, Espo's, which is in Raritan, which is right next to Somerville,
Okay.
Best veal parm ever.
Yeah, I haven't had a good Italian food in a long time. Like, it just
you got to give to get. You gave up that to get where you live now and less taxes and better weather and all that. But you still miss what you miss from home. There's no question. I'm always going to be a Jersey guy. It's kind of like the Neil Diamond thing. LA's fine, but it ain't home. New York's home, but it ain't mine no more. That's kind of my thing. Because East Coast, New York, New Jersey will always be my home.
Yeah.
It'll always be where my heart is.
100%. I can't wait to take my kids back to see where I grew up.
And I'm here more or less over 30 years, man.
It never leaves, though. It really
never leaves.
And everybody I've met from other states, when they move to a different state or something, it does kind of leave them. They're like I never really hear them say, "Well, I'm from here." They just tell you where they live. But guys from New York, New Jersey, they're always like, "I'm from Jersey."
There's a pride. There's a pride. There's a feeling. There's an emotional attachment. When 9/11 happened, I was out here. I'm laying in my apartment with my fiance at the time, and she's from Florida and Louisiana, and she didn't get it. She didn't have that emotional connection that I had. And our roomie at the time, who was still one of my friends, God knows how many years ago, he knocked on my door. He's like, "Dude, you got to turn on the TV." I said, "What channel?" He said, "Any channel you want, dude. You got to see what's going on." And I saw, and there's an emotional thing that goes with this. I spent time in Manhattan, boatloads of it, all my auditions, all the running, the doing whatever. I spent time in the towers. One of my cousins worked in Building 7, the American Express building. Barry Larkin, Major League Baseball player, Hall of Famer. He had friends that worked in the tower. He was a friend of mine, and we had talked about it, And one of my other friends, his daughter, God rest her soul, she worked for Cantor Fitzgerald, 106th floor. She's gone. Michelle Totolo, she's on the list. They say her name every September 11th. There's an emotional thing there.
Yeah.
And those of us who are from there, now I'm gonna start crying because that's just what I feel. It's never gonna leave us. This generation, they see it video and they see it. It's not real life to them. It's like a movie to them. They think, "Oh yeah, no, it really happened. This is what it was." So we have that emotional thing, that absolute binds us together. Just different everywhere else.
I agree. Just us alone. Like, you didn't know I was from Jersey, but when I said it, I saw the ears perk up. Because you find somebody who understands and who's been there and there's a different type of camaraderie with people from Jersey too.
Oh, totally. Totally.
Actually, I want to ask you about that, because now that we're talking about Jersey, how did that help you in your career? Because again, that no nonsense. I've always found always kind of pushed the people that I shouldn't have in my life away, like that type of no nonsense attitude I hold. It always kind of pushed those people, turn them off to me, because they're like, all right, I'm not getting one over on this guy. But then it also attracted good people who, just.
I think it's inside every person. You kind of have to be just a judge of character,
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I have people that I've been friends with that I went to kindergarten with. You know, my friend Dave, I've known him since kindergarten. And it was wild because I had moved in second grade from Somerville to Bridgewater. So I went to a different school. And he came to my 7th birthday party. And I have a picture of me and him and the cake, you know, the chocolate chip cookie cake that we had, whatever. And then I didn't see him for a while. You know, back then there's no cell phones, no emails. People cannot concept that we didn't have these things. And I was doing the Chiller Theater show in Parsippany.
Oh, I used to go to that all the time. That's awesome.
I haven't missed one in 23 years.
Well, then I've definitely seen you there. I know that.
I'm sure. And he came up to me and he goes, "You're Scotty Schwartz?" And I said, "Yeah." He's like, "Are you going to be here tomorrow?" And I said, "Yeah." He said, "Okay." And he walked away. That's all he said to me. He just walked away. Comes back the next day. "Hey, do you remember me?" I said, "Yeah, I saw you yesterday." He's like, "Here, I got something to show you." And he hands me our kindergarten picture from Somerville. Now, it's one of those things where I could be here and he could be over here or whatever, right? Oh, no. The minute I looked at the picture, he's sitting next to me and we got our arms over each other's shoulders.
That's awesome.
The second I saw it, I said, "Oh, my God, it's Dave." I knew exactly who it was. You know, Dave Wilbur, God love him, and his wife, Kathy. And we still talk, and they were in Jersey. Then they actually moved out to Northern California, but now they're back in Jersey again. But he and I are still friends since kindergarten. My friend Kenny Over since second grade. There's a thing about people there, you know, and then as you grow up and you do different things, and, you know, I mean, I had the fame and all of that. Yeah, you get your hanger-oners or your wannabe friends and that kind of crap. But I kind of had this core of guys, you know, that were good guys. They were my friends before. They're my friends after, you know. So I never let any of the, you know, notoriety really change me as a person. And I mean, there was one time I did, and my friends were like, "Dude, you're being an ass. We're just going to go home. If this is how you're going to act, we're just going to go home. Quit the nonsense." That's really it.
Yeah.
You know. And
you take it, and you know that they're saying it out of loyalty.
Well, of course. They're your boys, you know. You know, there's the friends you have that are just fringe, and then there are friends you call if you got to move the body. Well, that's them, you know. Yeah. That's how they say it, you know. There's nothing I wouldn't do for them. There is not a mountain I wouldn't move. You know, something happens, I'm on an airplane, you know, parents pass away and whatever, and they make the phone call, and I'm on a plane because you got to go because that's what is right.
Yeah, I agree, 100%.
But there's a lot of people who have come and gone along the way. You know, the amount of money that I helped people with and loaned and gave, and, you know, I wish I had half the money back I gave away. You know, I could pay my mortgage for a year. You know, but it ain't happening.
Yeah, you let it go, and you know, but if you do,
life, yeah, you got to live.
Yeah, exactly. Well, I'm very interested to see, like, what are you working on now? What have you got going on? Any more projects or anything coming up? Or
well, there's not a whole hell of a lot going on at this exact moment. Of course, you know, I just did a thing, the Quarantine Bunch, that's on YouTube. It was a 6 or 7 episode thing, which was a bunch of child stars, and we were all in our houses. You know, when we got the lockdown. And one of the guys came up with a concept to do this thing, you know. Okay, so we did it. It's kind of like a Brady Bunch thing where there's all of us on the screen and we're all on our screens and all that stuff. But I'm working on getting some other stuff going when, you know, the clouds part, so to speak. I mean, I've got to go to a couple different appearances in Tennessee and one maybe in Columbus in December. But it's sporadic, you know. It's not like it was before. Chiller got canceled in April, got canceled in October. You know, in Parsippany, but, you know, hopefully next April it'll be up and running again.
That's such a great convention. It really is.
Mm-hmm.
And they do it right so well. I've always loved it. I miss it. I miss not being able to make it all the time. But that was like my first foray into conventions. But going to those conventions as you do, and you know, doing the appearances, what's that like for you? You meeting all the fans and everything.
Listen, it's nice to be known and remembered for something, you know, and I don't want to be Charlie Manson, you know, I'd rather be who I am, you know, and people, they see you and it's a smile and it's part of their childhood. It was part of their parents, you know, If when you think about what fame is and how it affects different people in different ways, you should just never forget really where you come from. And I don't mean that as in on a map. I mean mentally, you're just a guy from blank, whether it's New Jersey, Kentucky, Tennessee, Oklahoma, it doesn't make any difference. You're always that guy, and for people to come up and say, oh my God, dude, I love you. This movie, you don't understand. My dad loves this movie. My grandpa, my grandma, my aunt, my uncle, this one, that one. It's nice to know that something that I've been a part of, be it the toy or Christmas Story, whatever, is a good memory for people. And I mean, I've had to talk to more moms and grandpas and grandmas and uncles and aunts and dads and brothers. People, they come up, oh, I'd like to get a photo. If I call my dad, would you say hi, please? It's nice to know that you can bring a smile to somebody's face. That's truly how I enjoy it, because I like making people smile. That's kind of my thing.
That's awesome.
I like making people think, and I like making people smile.
I want to ask, I have to ask actually, how do you feel about them having made a sequel to A Christmas Story? Like, that just felt like so.
Listen, they got to make money. It's the business. It's a machine. That's what it is. Bob Clark didn't want to do anything more than Christmas Story. That was never his, intention. But it became such a big thing over the course of time, and they offered him a boatload of money to do it. And he's like, all right, and he told me it was going to be crap. It didn't matter. It's just a way to sell more product. They did the sequel to Summer's Tale, and then they did Christmas Story 2, and they didn't include us, in any of those things, that's up to them. It's not like they owe us anything, It would have been more fun to have been a part of them, because it's what people know. When they did the Christmas Story, the musical, the Broadway show was fun, but it's because it's in a theater. So it's a different, feeling of being in a theater, watching a production and a musical, everybody's singing. Okay, fine. When you're watching it on television, you're taking something that's this big and you're putting it in this box, and it's different, and people were more, why didn't the original cast have anything to do with this? This would have been great, You could have had Ralphie playing the father, realistically. Peter Billingsley could have done it,
Yeah.
Somebody else could have played the narrator, who would have been, somebody else. Whatever it could have been, but it could have been some of us. Instead, they chose to go a different way, and they went with, the other people that they had as part of the project. My fun one was Jane Krakowski played Miss Shields, the teacher. Okay. And Teddy Moore, who played the teacher in A Christmas Story, played Miss Shields. She lives in Toronto. So, we were all going to watch it because we have to. That's just what it is, So right after the scene with Jane Krakowski, she does her number, they went to commercial, I called Teddy on the phone and I said, Teach, you never looked that good in your whole life. She's like, no, but I could dance like that when I was a youngster. But she got a kick out of it, But the fans remember us. Yeah. They remember us as kids, and that's what they want. But it is what it is.
How does it feel though? It's such a long list. Like, this is a movie it's a staple. It's not even more, it's more than a movie. It's so, people are fanatical about A Christmas Story.
Listen, and Bob Clark was fanatical, and he's the director. It was his baby. He wanted to do this. Christmas Story never gets made except for one other film. Mm-hmm. And it is what it is. You can't change it. Christmas Story gets made because of the success of Porky's. Yeah. Because it's Bob Clark's film. They wanted him to do the sequel. They wanted him to do Porky's 2 right away. And the scheduling didn't work where they could do it during the winter time, so they couldn't do it until, April, May, the summertime. And he said, great, I'm going to do my film in the middle. what do you mean your film? I'm going to do Christmas Story. They didn't know what it was. They didn't care what it was. They wanted nothing to do with it. And he's like, listen, here's my budget. I'm going to do this. I'm going to shoot it from here to here. While I'm shooting, I'm going to edit it. Right after I get done, I'll go into pre-production and I'll do Porky's 2. You know, they wouldn't give him the budget that he wanted. He wasn't blackmail, but he actually gave up his directing producer fee for a portion of the film, for a part of the ownership of the film to get it made. He wanted $5 million. $5 million. That's what he wanted. Now, you and me say $5 million. That's a lot of money. In the world of movies, it's not really a lot of money, but back then it was. You know, they wouldn't even give him $5 million. We'll give you $4 million. They didn't even want to give him his budget. Today they shoot movies $250 million, $200 million, you know, and they're blockbusters, and we know.
They may be blockbusters, but they don't stand the test of time like Christmas Story.
That's the general public accepting the film, loving the film, making the film a part of Americana. You know, it's in the Library of Congress. You know, I think there's around 1,000, 1,200 movies that are in there now, something like that. And A Christmas Story is one of them. Yeah. You know, it's a beloved film. It's a relationship film. It's a feel-good film. You know, so it worked. You know, it did okay originally at the box office. It made MGM money. They were happy, and they were thrilled when Ted Turner wanted to buy it. You know, for the Turner Library, and then Ted Turner and his people turned it into the Marathon, and here we are 24 years later.
Still at 24 hours a day. I mean, it's so crazy to me, and I love it. I mean, it's one of those things I love, and you see so many on different holidays, other channels try and do it with movies. Like they've even tried to do it, I think it was the USA Network or something was trying to do that with It's Wonderful Life. They tried to do that with White Christmas. And they never last. You never see it happen the next year.
They tried to do it with The Wizard of Oz. They did it twice. The first time was okay. The second time the ratings went down. That was the end of that. Yeah. It's a Wonderful Life was on TBS. They did it once. It did okay. The second time it went down. Oh, you know, whatever. Christmas Story they had bought. They had very, very little into it. So they tried the Marathon, figuring, hey, if we can get at least 2 years out of this, we break even. We make a little bit. Plus, we can redo it on video every 4 or 5 years, whatever. And okay, fine.
Yeah.
They threw it up there, and it did okay. It did pretty decent. Then the second year, the ratings went up, and they went, okay. The third year, the ratings go up. Hey, let's keep going. Then it becomes a cash cow. You know, for a movie that cost them $250,000, Warner Brothers has said it is the highest grossing film, most profitable film in the history of Warner Brothers for what they paid for it.
Jeez.
I mean, that's a pretty amazing statement to consider how many films Warner Brothers has done over the past 90 years. Yeah. You know, or 100 years. What am I saying? You know, you think about that, you know,
it is crazy.
And never have we seen a movie come out and there's no talk. There's no big, you know, promotional campaign. There's no big stars. There's no special effects. There's no nothing. And 20 years later, they start merchandising the thing. It's not till 2003 when they had any merchandise.
And it's everywhere.
And now it's everywhere. Oh, it's a cash cow. They're just sitting there cashing checks. It's hysterical.
Oh, and it's such a quotable movie, too. It's such a wonderfully quotable movie.
Ah, fragile. It must be Italian. You know, it just... My favorite scenes are Darren McGavin and his shtick and the things that he did and the Chinese restaurant.
Oh. So everything about that movie is memorable. And again, I still maintain you have the most memorable scene in the movie.
You know, it doesn't start out that way. You know, I'm doing the film, and in the script, Flick has 16 lines in the whole movie, okay? That scene, it says, Flick sticks tongue to pole. That's it. So we get there and whatever. And Bob, my audition process was easy because Bob knew I did the toy and he had seen the toy. He knew I could do anything. So when we get there, he's like, listen, run with it. Do what you want. We'll see if I like it or don't like it. Just go, you know. Okay. So I did pretty much what you see on camera. And we did that a few times. He's like, you know what? Give me more. Just go overboard. Just let it go. Okay. And I just went hog wild crazy. And he's like, nope, I like how you did it first. Do it the way you did it. Okay. And then what you see on screen is basically me coming up with, the different lines stuck to the pole and all that stuff. Don't leave me, come back, and all that crap, stuck, stuck, stuck. I mean, all that stuff,
Yeah. I have a.
Yeah, and
oh no, sorry. I didn't mean to cut you off. I was just going to say I have a. I went to Full Sail. It was a film school in Florida, and the head of the film department at the time, it's got Dave Franco, always talked about being an extra on set that day when you shot. So I sent a message to him. I haven't talked to him yet, but I was like, "Hey, I'm talking to."
He's a Canadian?
I don't know much about where he's from. Like he was the head of the film department. I knew him, so like when I saw it, when I knew I was going to talk to you.
Well, we shot that in Canada.
Yeah.
The Tongue of the Flagpole scene was shot in St. Catharines, which is between Toronto and Buffalo, basically. Otherwise known as the Ice Box.
Oof, I can imagine. It
was anywhere from 20 to 24 below zero.
How do they maintain you guys out there? Especially
barely. Well, I got the brunt of it because I had to be out there the longest. That shot from the school where I'm out there all by myself on the pole and all that stuff. I'm out there all by myself, and we actually shot it twice. It was my second or third day of shooting the first time we did it, and about 10 days later, Bob came over to me and he says, "Well, I got good news and bad news. The good news is you're going to be with us another extra 3 or 4 days. The bad news, they underdeveloped the film. It came out too dark. We have to go do it all over again."
Oh.
So the first time we did it, it took 12 and a half hours. And the second time we did it, we knocked out an hour. We did it in 11 and a half hours.
Yeah. So with that being said, then the Coogan's Law should probably be a little more of a percentage then, right?
Well, that was Canada, so you could pretty much do anything, and we shot in Cleveland, the Higbee Square at the beginning of the film, Ralphie's house, the exteriors outside was all in Cleveland, on Clark Street over there in Cleveland. So, again, the Coogan Laws, again, like I said, see, I'm a believer in working, so you can't say to put a 6-year-old in the same working environment as a 16-year-old. There's a different mindset there. There's different everything there, a basic, 8-hour work day for anybody under, let's say, 10. Okay, that's good. But once you get over 10, you can handle working a little bit more. You can handle it. Mentally you understand and can comprehend what the hell is going on,
Mm-hmm.
And there was overtime, anything over an 8-hour day, you got overtime, so you made a few more ducats in your pocket, and they prorated it to whatever you were getting per week and all that kind of stuff.
Nice.
But, I believe in a work day. I don't believe in, just bring me in and I can work 3 hours and go home, You're there. What's the difference,
Yeah.
Get done what you got to get done and move it along,
Absolutely, 100%. Well, I got to tell you, Scott, thank you so much for being on the show, and it was great to reminisce about Jersey. I'll tell you, it was great to talk about everything, but definitely it's always nice to reminisce about Jersey and the food.
Listen,
thank you.
I come on the podcast for many different people, and I like to have fun and enjoy, and reminiscing is just part of life. We all have memories. We all have things that we loved, and we get the good, the bad, the ugly. That's just kind of life. And being that I've brought some happiness to people's lives, there's nothing wrong with that. Bringing a smile to somebody's face. There's so much misery and not great things in today's society. I say it: have a laugh, a joke, and a smile, because you don't know what tomorrow is going to bring.
That's a fantastic quality and a fantastic motto to have. So thank you again. Do you have anything you want to promote going on, coming up that you want to just put out there, or social media or anything like that?
My social media is, I have Facebook, is Scott Schwartz Actor. That's my page on there.
All right.
On Facebook for fans and other people. I have my own personal page, and I'm kind of wheedling it down so that I can just get personal friends on there and get other people onto the other page, and I go on both of them. It's not like I don't see it. I don't do things on there. Appearances and whatever I'll put up there. But I I have a book that's coming out next year, but we can talk about that next year. It ain't coming out now, so what's the difference?
Yeah, fair enough. But let's make sure everybody goes and checks out the Quarantine Bunch, which you're a part of.
Yeah, that's fun. It's a fun thing. It's me, Todd Bridges, Jeremy Miller from Growing Pains, and Danny Pintaro, and Keith Coogan from Don't Tell Mom the Babysitter's Dead, The Fox and the Hound, and many other things. Toy Soldiers. It was a fun thing to do. Melissa Disney, who you wouldn't know who she is, but she did the voiceover stuff for the Academy Awards last year.
Oh wow! Okay, cool.
So I mean, Judy Norton, who was the voice of Judy Jetson on the Jetsons cartoon series, is in it. So we had some fun people. And hopefully there'll be some other stuff in the future, and we'll get back to life again.
Yes, that is the main goal right now. It's just trying to get out, and I mean, you're out in the open right now. I'm getting out there after this. I'm taking the kids out.
I'm in the back of my house. Listen, the wearing the mask thing, I get it. I'm not a fan of it, but I understand it.
Yeah.
I just tell people, listen, you're going to go out, just don't be stupid.
Yeah.
That's all. Just be smart.
Yeah.
There's a reason why, COVID numbers are not at zero. It's because you have too many idiots and people that are just not thinking. If you're a freshman in college, listen, a party is not necessarily what's necessary right now.
There'll be plenty of times for that. Absolutely.
Exactly. I mean, the protesting that's going on, I'm not against protesting. Maybe now is not the time to do it, considering we're in the middle of a pandemic. Again, I understand what's going on. But it's like you got to handle one thing before you can handle another.
Yeah, it's tough. It's a very tough time to maneuver at the moment, definitely. So but
people just need to think. People need to put their thinking caps on. What's important right now? People's lives are at stake. Let's not be too hasty, and let's not be dumb. Just be smart. That's all.
And that's
I've traveled during this thing. I've gone out and had to do some things. You wear a mask. Okay, fine. I hate it. There's no question.
Yeah.
But we are where we are. Let's make do for this short time. Let's get it over with. And then, get back to the lives we all knew and loved and enjoyed. Going to Seaside Heights, or going to Atlantic City, or going to Long Beach Island, or going wherever the hell you want to go, fishing or anything else. I don't care what it was. You want to go to Jamaica and get naked, you do whatever the hell you want. Let's just put a pause on it. Let's try and understand what's going on.
Get it, fix everything first and then get there.
Maybe that's my age. Maybe it's just that I'm getting old, I mean, I'm 52, and it's like I sort of think about life more than I think about, oh, well, I really need to do this. No, I don't.
Yeah, and that's a good point. And you're right. If you're going to go out, be smart about it. So I love that. That's a great sentiment. And again, thank you so much for being on the show. This has been great. And
you're welcome. I love the back of your computer. You're a funny guy.
Thank you, sir.
Between Crystal Lake, Star Wars, Jason from Friday the 13th,
Yeah,
I can't see them. I can't see them all, but I see the guy from Scream.
Yeah. I got a bunch of stickers from friends who make them, and they put them out, different companies and stuff. So I showing some.
Listen, I can just tell you, I'm a slight bit disappointed, just a slight bit. There's no sticker of Darth Vader, so. There you go.
Oh, no, that's true. He's over there.
Oh, he's over there? Okay.
In my studio, different sections of what, and that I can't fit any more Star Wars over there. So I will definitely take that, and I'm going to make sure that one shows up on the computer now. So thank you again, and you take care. Be safe out there, and thank you, everybody, for watching and listening.
This one's gonna be a hard one. No pun intended.
Down the catwalk every day, and maybe someday we'll go all the way.
Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles movie. A sequel was all but inevitable, really.
We're going to go over this one time and one time only.
Hey everybody, have you heard the news? Joe Bob is back in